In Davao City, the so-called Davao Death Squad, or DDS, emerged as a shadowy force. Allegations tie the group to summary executions of street children, petty criminals, and suspected drug dealers. Between 1998 and 2008, human rights monitors estimate more than 1,000 people were killed or disappeared under their watch. A 2009 investigation by the Philippine Commission on Human Rights accused local police of stonewalling, while a leaked diplomatic cable noted something just as troubling: the absence of widespread public outrage. The DDS story raises a question central to power itself. When fear replaces justice, who truly benefits? To understand the Davao Death Squad, we need to look back at Davao in the late 1980s and 1990s. The city was no stranger to violence. Street crime, drug trafficking, and political unrest left many residents living in fear. Courts moved slowly, and trust in law enforcement was weak. It was in this environment that whispers of vigilante justice began to spread. Motorcycle-riding men targeting suspected criminals, shootings in broad daylight, bodies turning up in alleys. People began calling them by a name: the Davao Death Squad. Whether officially organized or loosely connected, one fact stood out: suspected wrongdoers were being eliminated outside the law.
Servants of the people claimed responsibility for the killings, but the manner and frequency with which the assassinations were done earned it the moniker the Davao Death Squad.
Reports describe a chilling pattern: 2 men on a motorcycle, the passenger armed with a handgun, a quick targeted shooting, and then a fast escape. The victims? Often alleged drug dealers, petty thieves, or even street children accused of sniffing glue. Human rights organizations estimate that from 1998 to 2008 alone, more than 1,020 people were killed or disappeared under the watch of this shadowy group. Police investigations went nowhere. Families of victims claimed justice was denied before it even began. What emerged was not just a group of killers, but a system. A system that made fear the price of order. At the center of the DDS narrative stands one man, Rodrigo Duterte, mayor of Davao for more than 2 decades. Known as the Punisher, Duterte's rhetoric was blunt. In public speeches, he warned drug dealers and criminals: leave the city or risk death.
The criminals not to in here in the city.
Duterte has ordered Task Force Davao to pursue the kidnappers. The victim, who was abducted in Quezon City on July 5, is now safe in the custody of local authorities. She will be returned to her family soon.
To many Davao residents, he was the only leader who could restore order. Crime rates fell, and the city began to gain a reputation as one of the safest in the Philippines, at least on paper. But to critics, this order came at an unacceptable cost.
Pinuno, Peace and Order Council ng lungsod.
I cannot shut up because that is my mandate. As a public servant, it is my mandate to, in fact, serve as a watchdog for local government units and government officials to ensure that they abide by the rule of law. He might be sending the wrong signal, and instead of generating an environment of peace and order, he might even incite vigilantism.
Sinuportahan naman ng rice traders sa Davao City ang kampanya kontra rice smuggling sa lungsod.
Human rights groups accused Duterte of turning a blind eye to the killings, or worse, encouraging them. In the world of politics, silence can be as telling as words. And in Davao, silence often followed the sound of gunfire. But perhaps the most unsettling part of the DDS story is not just the killings, it's the public reaction. Surveys and interviews revealed something striking. Many Davao residents supported the methods. For them, walking home at night without fear of robbery or assault was worth the price. A leaked U.S. diplomatic cable even noted the absence of widespread outrage among locals, despite the mounting death toll. This divide between fear of crime and fear of abuse shows the deepest challenge of democratic governance. When people feel safer under extrajudicial killings than under a weak justice system, what happens to the very idea of rule of law? Quick pause. Learning something new? Please like and subscribe. It genuinely helps me a lot. Thanks.
The Commission on Human Rights to create special investigating bodies. The Ombudsman did charge more than 20 police officers for failure to stop the killings, but that's as far as it went. Investigators say witnesses are too afraid to talk.
In 2009, the Philippine Commission on Human Rights launched an investigation into the Davao killings. Its findings were blunt. Local police had failed to cooperate. Stonewalling, lost evidence, and witnesses too afraid to testify. International NGOs amplified the alarm. Amnesty International, Human Rights Watch, groups demanding accountability. The issue even reached the United Nations, where Philippine representatives faced growing criticism. But in Davao itself, life carried on. Markets were busy, streets bustled, and many locals defended their mayor. It was a collision of perspectives, international outrage against local acceptance. In 2016, Rodrigo Duterte took his brand of governance national. Elected as the 16th president of the Philippines, he promised to wage a war on drugs across the entire country.
There will be no let up in this campaign. Double your efforts, triple them if need be. We will not stop until the last drug lord, the last financier, and the last pusher have surrendered or put behind bars. Or below the ground, if they so wish.
What followed was unprecedented. Police operations and vigilante-style killings surged. Human rights groups estimated tens of thousands dead. The echoes of the Davao Death Squad had become a nationwide reality. The International Criminal Court launched a preliminary examination and later an investigation into alleged crimes against humanity. In response, the Philippines formally withdrew from the ICC in 2019. What began in the alleys of Davao had reached the world stage. Today, the story of the DDS remains contested. To supporters, it was a necessary tool to bring order to chaos. To critics, it normalized extrajudicial killings and eroded democracy. The truth, as always, lies in the lives left behind. The families without answers, the victims without justice, and the city forever shaped by fear and silence. The legacy of the Davao Death Squad is not just about one city or one man. It's about the choices societies make when the promise of safety clashes with the principles of justice. The story of the DDS is more than local history. It's a global warning. When governments allow justice to be replaced by fear, when silence becomes acceptance, the balance of power tilts dangerously away from democracy. The question remains, who truly benefits when fear replaces justice? This has been Balance of Power. If you found this episode insightful, please like, share, and subscribe. Your support helps us bring more stories that reveal the hidden costs of power. Thanks for watching.